Hey everyone, welcome back to New World and Aeternum. I can't wait to get started today. We are heading over to the Everfall Hamlet, which is the settlement in Everfall, where we start to learn about factions, we can start doing some crafting, there's storage facilities, and so much more. So let's get to it. We have two quests to hand in there. Truffle Fever, which we got from Hapless How right there, who asks us to gather the truffles that the boar stole from him, and also Bearer of Bad Tidings. Reese has some bad news for Avita Maecia, and we are going to deliver it because we are an adventurer and that's what we do. Oh, so turkeys, super important early resource. They give you feathers. Feathers are made to make arrows. So super awesome early resource here is to grab some turkeys. Only 5 feathers from that one, but they do drop more than that on occasion. Oh gosh, this thing looks little. It's much higher level than us. I can take it. Did. Got ourselves a supply crate. And some loot. We got some iron arrows already, which is quite early. And a note called Prosperity. We're in Fallowhill Farm, by the way. I got distracted on the way to the main city here. Today is a dark day at Fallowhill Farm. Farmer Paulson has succumbed to withering, leaving the once proud band naught but a chittering, gibbering mess. We mourn him, but we must also now be wary of him and others who, in the repeated deaths to the corrupted and elements, may follow him. Could this signal the end of our prosperity? I pray to Providence that no more of us turn, and that this farm stays productive for Everfall and Monarchs plus settlements that rely upon our crops. It does not seem like that has happened. It's sad to say, it looks like they have all succumbed. A once proud farm. Anything over here? Some flint? But nothing else. Traitorous allure. General Crassus, I am writing to report to you of our dismal failure in the territory known as Everfall. As promised, there are ruins here that retain some of the ancient's power. How we might harness it, however, I haven't a clue, and I don't think we'll be acquiring that knowledge anytime soon. Unfortunately, the bountiful nature of this land seems to have seduced Legatus Maecia to the extent that she has abandoned our cause and turned utterly provincial. For years, she justified our ongoing partnership with the residents of the settlement here, but it's become clear to me that she is simply making excuses for us to remain here indefinitely. Believe it or not, the people here have even elected her to be constable of the settlement, an appointment I regret to say she eagerly accepted. I have stuck around a few months uncertain of whether it is my duty to see her punished for dereliction of duty. Even if I were so inclined, however, the locals here would thwart any attempt I made to do so. Rather, I am sending this report to inform you of the situation, and I will instead journey west in hope of joining up with Legatus Fulvius before he goes to Reekwater. I trust that either you or the gods themselves will see to it that Maecia is cursed for her behavior. Signed, Legionnaire Carolus. Interesting, so Maecia came here with a legion. And she stayed. So in reality, you can actually choose somebody else's camp and set your waypoint to that other person's camp so that you don't have to all build your own camp, and that you'll see that much more commonly as the levels get higher and there's not a quest right here to build a camp. But yeah, that's something to look out for. You don't always have to build a camp. If there's another one nearby that somebody else built, you can use that one. Make sure to grab the free supplies while you're in town as well. Free supply of honey. There is also a free... Whoa, let's not do that. Oh my goodness. There's a free supply of water, but my gentleman here believes that he should be climbing this. There's a downside to the auto climb. You can collect the water as well. I'm just going to leave it for the time being, and I'll turn off the auto climb feature. Oh, Constable Maecia's journal. September 23rd? The moment I set foot in Everfall, I knew I had found paradise. How could I ever return to the infernal brimstone desert knowing this was here? I decided then and there I'd be abandoning the Legion. I just had to wait for Legionnaire Corellis to give up on me, which finally came to pass, thank the gods. My affection for the autumn colors hasn't waned to this day, but I do feel like I've become stuck somehow. Like the season itself, I'm in transition, waiting for a winter that will never come. Furthermore, I started noticing a change in the people here, a hollowness about the eyes. Yesterday I went out and they all looked like puppets from some traveling mummers show. Then the weight of the sky started bearing down on me like a crushing misery. I just ran back into the town hall, and frankly, now I'm scared to leave. I know Legionnaire Corellis would say I was cursed for betraying the Legion. I don't know if it's that or some further stroke of ill luck, but I won't be leaving town hall anytime soon if I can help it. I just hope the town doesn't turn against me. Good point. Is this our Maecia? There she is. Beautiful Maecia. Talk to her, I think. A truce proposal. On this island of eternal life, there have been established 3 parties of interest: the Marauders, the Syndicate, and the Covenant, that shall thusly be referred to as factions. These factions represent their individual interests and motivations that shall be introduced to every new denizen, henceforth referred to as the subject of Aeternum. Once all 3 introductions have been issued, the subject is to return to the magistrate of the settlement and make a formal, immutable decision on which faction they wish to swear their undying allegiance to. Henceforth the subject shall belong to their chosen faction and be available to fight in wars for settlement gubernatorial control, as well as conduct missions for influence within their faction. All members of each faction agree to conduct their fighting away from the settlements of Aeternum, as they are hereby decreed sanctuary. So the Pact is decreed, and it shall be so for so long as there is life on Aeternum. Note, the bloody factions refuse to sign the bloody truce. Perhaps some changing in the wording could convince representatives to come forward and unite the factions in this agreement. So, there's a truce proposal, but nobody signed it. Interesting. Anything else to read in here? Oof, getting a little laggy here in town. It's a nice setup up here. Oh, stop climbing shit. Alright, we're gonna have to turn off this climbing thing. He just is out of control. Auto traverse, there it is. We're gonna turn that off. Okay, thank you. Okay, so you can. This is where the controlling faction would pay territory upkeep. They set the taxes and the fees, and take a look at the current period's payroll. That nobody owns this yet. Settlement has not been claimed, but that's interesting. I actually did not notice that last time I played here. All right, let's talk to Maecia and see what she has to say.
Hello there. I'm Maecia. tell me, how are things outside? There was the storm, and then Shattered Mountain started spewing corruption. It's bad, isn't it?
Well, it's not great.
Oh, fiddlesticks. I knew this would happen. It's all my fault. I'm in a decades-long string of bad luck. Everything I touch turns to dung. Now this.
Sorry, man.
I'd call a town meeting, but I worry my misfortune is contagious. We need an expert on this corruption business, and someone to boost defenses. It's overwhelming.
Maybe we could find an expert.
These days? I'd have no idea. Well, there was some old fool raving about corruption many years ago. If he's still around at all, you might look up in Monarch's Bluffs. But do help us here first.
Of course.
Normally I am, but that would be very unwise. In fact, you should go for your own sake. Share the report with Magistrate Clark. He'll know what to do.
Alright. I will. Magistrate. Oh, what's this? The Everfall Banquet. Partake in the Everfall Banquet, dear friend, but be cautious when doing so. Not every settlement is so lucky as to have piles of food lying about for any hungry adventurer to snatch from a table. Partake in the Everfall Banquet, but be warned, the more you eat, the less you taste. The denizens of Everfall Hamlet must choose between hunger pangs or a crop of bountiful food that soon turns to naught but ash in your mouth. Things were not always this way, but in Aeternum nothing is guaranteed. On the night of the Blue Flames, the Azoth released made for immense crop growth with its eventual tastelessness like a punishment for meddling with the Shattered Obelisk. The obelisk can never be repaired, not by human hands, so Everfall must live with this cursed bounty. A cursed bounty. So the more you eat, the less you taste. Interesting. So here's the town board. You can pick up quests and stuff here. Right now there's only a few upkeep items. 550 green wood. You don't get many coins, 5.7 coins, that's it, but you get experience and territory standing. 40 oil, I don't even know where to get that, and a set of impenetrable crude iron armor. These are actually pretty hefty quests, to be honest, for this lower level.
A fine day to you, friend. I'm sure you saw the storm in the mountain, but let's keep our chins up. I expect a report from Watcher Reese any moment. Oh, that can't be good, can it? Yes, this confirms our suspicions. The corruption is indeed surging. I trust you're the person to whom Reese refers? Then you've already earned my respect.
Well, that was easy.
We must make preparations to secure the settlement. The corruption will come. It's just a question of when.
Well, how can I help?
First priority is safety, both for the settlement and for you. You've done your duty for Everfall, and I salute you for that.
What else?
Perhaps, but I insist you check in at the inn first. Whether it's here or another settlement, every soldier needs a warm bed.
Okay. So the inn, like many MMOs, is your place of respawn. It is your home, your hearth, if you're familiar with World of Warcraft. So this is kind of like, if you go to a new town and you want that to be where you go, you would have to talk to the innkeeper and
Welcome
make sure
to
you register
Always
at
a
that inn.
colourful place to be. You're here to check in. Be my guest. Haha, literally.
Also keep in mind though, if you do, the towns will like hound you when you leave and you don't register at the inn. But if you don't want that to be your primary town, don't register there, because then you're going to be stuck there. At least as far as I understand it, you'd have to run all the way back to the one you want to be at and register back at that inn. Cool. So we are registered here. We have some new armor and stuff, so let's put on our hat. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at this sexy beast. Oh man, I keep trying to spin him, but you actually can't. We have a nice plate, breastplate. Making me a little heavier here. And everything else. So, the way the market works in this game, there's no NPC stores. You either salvage everything or sell it on the market or drop it. But there's no like vendor or anything to sell it to. So, for all the old gear, I usually just salvage it. And you can see here, if you hit S and click, it'll salvage. Just like that. I can't believe we got iron arrows already. It's very nice.
Ah, I hope you're feeling fully rested now, if you needed that. Even during hard times, it's important newcomers feel welcome. If you intend to enlist with another settlement, now is the time. We can certainly use your sword arm around here, however.
Okay, so he's giving you a chance now to enlist with whatever settlement you want to. We're going to stay here. I like it in Everfall. I like the fall foliage and everything. It's super nice. But let's find out more about the area we are in.
I suppose so. Good a place as any on this island. Food is good, the weather is tolerable, and we have the most colorful landscape of any territory I've been to. Some of the most colorful personalities as well.
Alright, we will stay here.
If you wish to remain, you should get acquainted with our trading post. Check the storage space I've made available for you as well.
Alright, let's check the storage space. Which is nice here. So you get the storage space. There's like 2 of them in every town. And you can store stuff in here. You can actually even look at the other areas to see what you have stored. Now, your faction control actually helps determine if you can transfer items between towns, but it comes with a cost regardless. You can only transfer stuff if your faction controls the territories that you're trying to transfer between, and then there's a cost to actually transfer those items. So you really kind of want to keep the majority of your stuff where you plan on settling, and then in the other areas just kind of put random stuff that you pick up or whatever throughout throughout your travels. So I like to keep pretty much all my stuff here, and you can actually use the stuff too. Like you can refine the items and everything and craft and everything from the bank. You don't need to have it in your inventory, so it's super nice. So you see my inventory is down to 20 pounds. I'll be salvaging these 2 because I already made my own sickle and my own flint logging axe. So let's go ahead and salvage those items. Yeah, and you'll see we got a piece of flint. So let's throw that in there. Quest items. I like to keep on me. Fishing items you need to keep on you as well, as you would expect. Even though the fishing quest is down in a different territory. We'll get there eventually. Cool. The trading post is right here. And this is where pretty much everybody's posting all of their stuff. You can search for everything. It actually has a very nice... it's very well organized, I would say. So if you need a fire staff, you can see here that there's no orders for that, no sale orders for that. So you need a sell order in order to find something. But if you needed to get gathering tools, and you were like, you know what, I just want to focus on mining right away, you can come in here and you can see if anybody has iron pickaxes for sale yet, and nobody does actually. So this server is relatively new. It's one of the servers they opened because the other servers were all jam-packed. So you actually are ahead of the market here if you can get some tools on here. Which is actually why I think I'm going to sell the iron arrows that I got, because there's Not going to be many on the market. Let's see. Let's take a look at see if any iron arrows are out here yet. Iron ammunition, arrows. None. No iron arrows at all. So it kind of gives you, it's tough to know, like, you know, what to charge. So let's see what these are selling for. These are selling for $39.99 each. So let's start at 40 each on the arrows and see if we can get that. Now we only have a couple, so it's not going to matter. But you also want to reduce this down to, you know, 3 days, or else your taxes, your listing fee is just going to be ridiculous. That's default 14 days. You know, I might even do 1 day here because I think they're going to sell immediately. Oh, so they want... This says 100 each. You know what? Let's lower it to 50 each. You know what? Let's try 100 each. There's nothing on the market right now, so let's see. Let's see if we go to buy those. Yeah, so here they are. They are on the market now for 24 hours. 6 of them available, 100 each. You can also go to my orders and see them here. Now, I don't know if they added anything since, but in the beta it was very frustrating because you never really got a notification when something sold. You had to come back to the trading post, check out your completed and expired, and see if anything sold. The money's automatically added to your pouch, so you don't really get, you know, much of a notification. It'd be nice to see it in the chat or something. So we got another territory standing upgrade. We hit level 2 here. You know, storage is a big one too. We're going to go with that. It adds 25 additional storage items. That's nice.
There now. I think you have the lay of the land. Hope you feel at home. I can't ask you to defend a place to which you have no loyalty. Back in the old world, I knew for certain that a score of valiant soldiers could defend against any threat. Those days are gone.
Well, we can still prepare.
Next priority is the arsenal. Surely Maecia can handle the simple things. Why don't you ask her advice on acquiring materials for the forge? Perhaps she's willing to risk that much, at least.
Yeah, see, if you don't want to get a head start on gathering, you'll eventually get all the gathering tools from quests. So they're not hard to make, though. Let's go ahead and hand in Truffle Fever, which we got from Hapless How. If you remember, we had to gather some truffles, tried to mine some stuff, and ended up getting attacked by a boar. So it was a very fitting quest. Here's my new friend right here. All the truffles I lost and then some. I hope it wasn't too hard. How did Hal beat us back here? Keep that sickle for your troubles, and if you make a habit of harvesting herbs and such, we'll cross paths again, no doubt. Hey, he's given us a level 5 armor case. That's pretty nice of him. Pretty nice indeed, Hapless Hal. We got some leather gloves, which have a better armor rating than our current leather gloves. So, there you go. Our equipment load is now heavy. So this determines... Well, you can just hover over it. You get bonuses from, you know, the different type of armor that you want to wear. This is light, medium, and heavy armor, but in this game they did it a little bit differently in that you kind of are your weight determines if you're light, medium, or heavy, and it's the weight of the items that you're wearing. So you don't necessarily need to wear all light or all medium or all heavy. You can kind of mix or match and still stay within a range. Now we've seemed to have added enough pieces where we have hit the threshold for heavy, which means we dodge slower, and it's a sidestep instead of a roll. Our block stability, though, is increased by 15%, and our crowd control debuffs last 20% longer. You'll see here, with the medium armor, your dodge is a quick hop. You deal 10% bonus damage and healing, and your crowd control debuffs last 10% longer. And then if you're in light armor, you're the most nimble. Your dodge is a quick roll, covers a lot of distance, and you deal 20% bonus damage and healing. So, I'm not sure if I like these changes, per se, but there is a balance there, right? Because if you're in light armor, you're going to get rocked pretty easily. but you do get the bonus damage, so you're kind of like a glass cannon, right? And medium armor is really the middle of the road. You're average at both. You're average survivability, average damage, average healing, and then if you're heavy, you're a tank. You can take a lot of damage, you know, but you're slow. You don't do a lot of damage, so it's a nice. It's nice that you can kind of mix and match to try to balance things, but I also don't know about the damage buff. We'll see if they make any changes to that. So over here is all of the crafting areas, and look, another storage shed, so it's a nice placement here. The Marauders Manifesto, which if you'll remember is one of the factions. Quote unquote, no barriers. Let's keep this short. We're the Marauders. We don't make fancy speeches. We don't need preachy causes. The only thing we need is ourselves. This island is stuffed with opportunities for people of ambition. People who take what they want, riches, power, respect. You want these things too, don't you? Everyone does. We're just honest enough to admit it. Nothing is fair, nothing has meaning outside the meaning you give it, so embrace it. We are the masters and mistresses of our domain. It is a brutal world out there. Don't be a victim, be a marauder. That's quite a campaign by the Marauders there, isn't it? United in blood. My fellow Marauders, if you will allow me a moment of extremely brief sentimentality, are among the bravest and most noble fighters on this island. Here in our faction, it matters not your creed or origin, but how ferociously you can fight and conquer. The Vitae Aeternum Pact dictates that we issue a test of strength to all newcomers and, once proven worthy, extend the offer of membership to them. While all factions must band together to fight the corruption, the Marauders are without pretense, an uncomplicated bunch of united in blood shed on the battlefield. What more could an adventurer ask for? Signed, Commander Wang of Everfall. You'll see we're getting a lot of Marauder stuff because this is the Marauder faction right here with the green flag, the upside down triangle, and the skull with a warhammer smacked right through it. So if you would like to join the Marauder faction, you can talk to Huang Lin here and probably start a quest there. Over here we have the stone cutter table. See, we can immediately reduce our weight here just by turning stone into stone blocks. You'll see down here is all the gems that I was talking about before, but there's a bunch of other stuff you can do too. And I believe, if I remember correctly, there's another, gosh, I'm blanking. I could have sworn you make like gunpowder or something over here too. I'm just not seeing it right now. Here we have a workshop. This you can make tools. It's very similar to the fire, right? Gathering tools, crafting components, engineering components. You can make furnishings for your house, decorations for your house, among a number of other things. You will use all types of resources here, including metals, woods, and leathers and cloth and things like that. So you'll need a lot of resources for that. Here's your wood shop. You can turn your wood into timber. I love how fast the resource, generation is. Just refining the resources is so quick. You don't have to sit here through some tedium just to watch your character, do the same thing over and over again. So in terms of the smelter, we don't really have any metals yet. We gathered rocks for the stone cutter, but we haven't found any metal just yet. Here is the forge, so when you get some metal, or you can make a wooden longsword if you'd like, but when you start getting some metal, you can make all sorts of things. And then there's a few other things. They're not in this area, but I can show you where they are. We could probably gather our water now too. Nailed it. So, neat trick. Water actually restores health and boom, you can put it right there. Very small amount of HP. But it's very heavy in your inventory, so you can just put it here and you can actually use it. It's super cheap. It's free for 20 pieces, so
Storms
can't
buffeting
complain.
the shores.
So here's the other items here. We have the tanner. We ended up gathering 97 raw hide, so let's turn that into 24 close leather. Here we have the loom, where you can turn fibers into linen. Fibers you get from hemp, which we didn't see any hemp while we were out and about, so we don't have any of that. There's a kitchen here. You can do some cooking. Energizing light ration will give you mana regen. The regular light ration will give you health. And the travel ration will give you health as well. 60 health though, so a bit more. And you can choose two, you need 2 items here to mix in order to make the travel ration. We currently only have berries. Or actually we only have secondary ingredients. We don't have a primary ingredient, which is a red meat. A secondary ingredient, we have game meat, poultry, honey, pork, and berries. But no red meat. Then over here, we have the outfitting station, where you take that linen, turn it into armor. And I think that is it for Everfall. Here is the Syndicate, if you'd like to join them. I'll try to get over here and read their charter. Their quote is, "Reach exceeding. All worlds are bound by certain natural laws. A scientist's job is to know them. Thanks to Newton, we now know that small echoes the large. The song of the spheres is the same tune as a falling apple. With the microscope came knowledge of invisible life, too small to see, yet all around us. These discoveries didn't change the world because they have always been true, but they changed us, humankind. We have grown. Knowledge is transformative, creation's most powerful force. There's so much we still don't know about Aeternum. Why don't people die? What animates the lost? Who were the ancients? We must ask questions to find answers. We have just scratched the surface of the secret depths this place holds. It must be studied and understood regardless of the cost, and once we understand reality, we can start to improve it. All rational beings are welcome in the Syndicate. Join us. Help us draw back the veil." United in mind. The Syndicate may have thinkers from all corners of the world and a seemingly incongruent group of intellectuals, but we are united in the use of our mind before our fist or our hearts, often prone to error as they are. The Syndicate is a superior in its objectivity and logical outlook on conflicts. We may have internal disagreements, but there is one thing we can agree on. We are better equipped for battle with our sharp, focused minds than the other factions. Still, we must cooperate with thoughtless marauders and the small-minded Covenant against the corrupted in the end, lest we desire mutually assured destruction at the hands of the Red Tide. That's from Alchemist Oliveira of Everfall. There's the Covenant over here. Don't see them. I do see another note though. A notice of concern to carters and porters. After a recent spate of back injuries, the doctors of Aeternum feel compelled to issue this warning to anyone who transports goods between settlements. Please remember that there are no beasts of burden on Aeternum. No horse or donkey will pull your cart, carry your pack, or tolerate a rider. All efforts to domesticate or re-domesticate these animals have led only to injury and a lot of swearing. Therefore, it's important to transport only as many goods as your own back can bear. Do not overburden your packs or carts. This is not the old world. In Aeternum, we must all pull our own weight. Your joints will thank you. Clearly that is a notice to players as well, because there are no mounts in this game. I like how they worked it into the story though. It's nice. So there's some quest givers in here. Let's see. William Heron's account. Heron's research into the Shattered Obelisk. That obelisk wasn't always shattered, or so the people who arrived and had turned him before me report. The ancient guardians once slumbered, naught but piles of bones on the old stone floors of their monuments. It was the explosion of the obelisk that awoke those old warriors, igniting blue flames around the island that cannot be extinguished by water, or any natural means. Was there some sort of timer device? Did someone interfere where they should not have? Further research is required. I'm still unsure where the Covenant is. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find them. I can't be too far. I doubt they're outside the walls, and the Marauders are to the right here. The Syndicate was over there. So maybe they're up top here. Let's go check out up here. Oh, I see some Covenant people, and this is a church, so this would make sense. Aha, found them. They are in the church. The Covenant's doctrine. Keep faith. Shall we rejoice? Humankind's oldest enemy is gone. Death is dead. We have reached the promised land, yet there are some who call it false promise. This land seeks our ruin, they cry, but even more dangerous are the enemies within. Moral weakness blinds us to the truth. Those who live in the dark can never recognize paradise. But where eyes fail, faith sees. The Covenant carries the spark. In our time of need, the spark carries us. Its clarity is our greatest gift. We bring the light of the spark to the darkest corners. We keep it shining at any cost against any foe. And one day, it will shine bright enough to reveal paradise itself. So they've all had two separate pamphlets. I don't see a second one here. Oh, there it is. Okay. United in spirit. Our sacred cause cannot be beaten. The snakes of the Marauders and Syndicate stand no chance against us, but at the same time can be, if wielded properly, vital tools in the fight against corruption. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, sometimes, and the same applies to all those fighting corruption. Though it is said to lie with dogs you awake with fleas, cooperation is at times necessary if the corrupted tide is to be stemmed. This Vitae Aeternum Pact calls us together in handing off of new denizens to one another to see where they best fit in and if they are pious enough to join the Covenant. After the choice is made, we still must rely upon others if we are to truly end the threat of the corruption. So interestingly enough, all three of them have a pitch where they are kind of explaining who they are and what they stand for, and then they also have a doctrine of compromise almost, where they're discussing the need to work with everybody else in order to fight the corruption. So it's pretty cool. Alright, I think I'm going to stop right here. I had a lot of fun showing you around the settlement in Everfall, known as Everfall Hamlet. We got a chance to get introduced to the factions, although we haven't had a chance to pick one yet. And then we also took a tour of all the different crafting facilities and all of the different faction locations and the trading posts, the storage, all that stuff. So hopefully this was informative and hopefully you had a good time. And next time around, we will be gathering resources to supply the armory. So I will see you then.